Welcome back to Currently with Curator, where I share my latest style obsessions, all of which you can access through my shopping community, Curator. This week, I'm helping you start your holiday shopping in style. I created our Home for the Holidays set to spread a little cheer to everyone on your list. It includes your choice of a gold or silver Anna New York ornament, a set of Anna New York amethyst and gold stemless wine glasses, and a Naeem Khan candle in the most gorgeous rose scent. This set is valued at over $200, but you can shop it with us for only $135.99. It's the perfect present for holiday party hosts and home decor lovers, but don't forget to keep one for yourself, of course. Visit Curator.com, that's Curateur.com, to shop this set and so many more glamorous holiday gifts now. Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Zoe, and you're listening to Climbing in Heels. This show is all about celebrating the most extraordinary women who will be sharing their incredible journeys to the top, all while staying glamorous. Today with me, we have a very dear friend of mine, the amazing Allison Statter. She is the super mom, wife, and CEO behind the female-founded LA-based marketing and communications agency, Blended Strategy. I'm so excited for you all to hear her journey, so let's get into it.
Thank you for asking me to do this.
Are you kidding me? I love you, and I'm so excited to have you on this, because, you know, climbing in heels, I mean, you've done climbing in heels. I mean, heels forced for you. I mean, heels for me are my preference. For you, they're definitely more forced.
Very. By the way, that is a great analogy. It's very natural for you to wear heels, whereas for me, I'm like, fuck, I got to wear heels. All right, fine.
Well, I mean, okay, so I started climbing in heels really because, just like you, I mean, I'm surrounded by the most badass women. But I think for me, I think of the women that I'm having on this podcast as women who have done it their own way, not the expected way. And it's really just about getting into the journeys of all these incredible women. And obviously, you're one of them. So I like to start a little at the beginning because I think you are definitely different than many of the women that I've interviewed, because you grew up here. You grew up in this insanity. This insanity was around you from birth. And, you know, you've seen and I've seen, like, you can grow up around fame, money, publicity, and the like, and you can actually have nothing to do with it. You can totally resist it. You can go against it. You can just live your regular, normal life like it never happened. Or you can take what you admire from it and what you hate about it, or none of the above. And I think one of the things I always ask is, like, you as a child, what happened? Meaning
Seriously.
like what the hell happened? Because I met you like pretty much everyone I've had on in my adult life, right? And we met young. We met as our young selves, way pre-children. You know, I think I want to know, like, who on earth were you, like, as a kid?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm flattered that you asked me and that you included me, because I saw who else you're including on this podcast. And I'm just honestly flattered that you've asked me to be on this and that you consider me amongst your other guests, because that is just, you know, it's really nice to be recognized like that. So thank you very, very much. I'm really grateful to you for that. And, you know, you're someone who I've known my entire career when you think about it, you know, because I'm a college dropout who just, you know, had drive and grit and emotions and like all the things. And I just wanted to do good work. And I think that that's what I continue to try to do. And as a kid, you know, it's interesting because I grew up in this environment and I was born into it. You know, I was lucky enough to have parents, and someone said to me, the other day, like, it's so great that you're like this and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, it's my parents. Like, I can't take any credit for it other than the fact that I was raised a certain way. And both of my parents have insane work ethics.
Yeah.
Like crazy work ethics. And so that's my benchmark.
And for our listeners, Al, will you say who your mom and dad are? Just because.
I am
besides legends.
In their own right. Yes. I am privileged to have the best parents in the whole world in Irving and Shelley Azoff. And, I owe a lot of, I owe everything I know to them.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah.
They've both independently taught me different things. And I am so grateful for it. I was in the car with my son a few Saturdays ago, and I was driving in between soccer games, and I was on the phone, and it was a work call, and I hung up, and he said to me, he was like, "Mom, it's a Saturday. Why are you on a work call?" And I was like, "I get it, but I need you to know something." I was like, I grew up and I know everything that I know now from driving around this city, listening to my father on his work calls and sitting in on lunches he would just take us with him. And as I reflect on it now, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky that I got to do that. And so I think that I also got that work ethic from them. And they never gave us anything that like we didn't earn, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And we had to make our beds every morning, and I did my own laundry, and I packed my own lunch, and like, they were very good with that type of stuff and not losing sight of like basic necessities.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for them that we weren't just like, you're going to be fine. Go do whatever the fuck you want.
But I have to tell you, I think, I hear that time and time again. I'm sure you've heard this a million times. Oh, I'm not raising a kid in LA. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah. Like, I'm not raising a kid in New York City. That's crazy. I'm not it's not where you raise your child. It's how you raise your child, right? And yes, it's what they're around as friends and at school and things like that. But ultimately, it's how you parent. And it actually doesn't matter how much money you have or don't have. It's the values that you put into your children. I always quote David Foster over and over again, because when I met Sarah and Aaron, one of the first things they taught me was their father said, "I'm rich. You're not rich. You have to earn I earned this." Like, and they're not bratty, spoiled kids at all. And neither are you. And I think the thing about you is that we were friends for so many years before I actually ever knew, because I didn't grow up here. So I didn't know anything about you other than that you were this badass cool girl that like was in my friend group, and like we would always hang out, and I knew that you worked hard, but that's another thing I want to talk about. So you speak very loudly and proudly, I think, about being a college dropout. Now, what I always say is what I tell my children now versus once they go to college, if they do, I'm not saying a word, because I did go to college. I don't think our education defines us in any way whatsoever. In fact, at least half of the most successful people I know in the world never even got past like 11th grade. So I pass no judgment on that at all. I don't want to affect how my kids think just yet. But at the same time, had my parents said to me in high school, "You don't have to go," I probably wouldn't have gone. And I probably would have gone straight to working, because I see people that love being a student and they go all the way and beyond in school. I was not one of those people. I'm still definitely not one of those people. And
same, by the way.
I just think that there are people that I think we wanted our own rules. I think we wanted to govern our own life. I think we wanted to just start working.
I always say that everyone has to do what's best for them. I was a terrible student. And when I look back on it, I struggled. Yeah. I struggled academically. I struggled socially. Like, I never really felt like I fit in anywhere. And, I went to boarding school. I went to all the things. And I think that for me, one of the things that I'm so grateful again to my parents for is they didn't force me to go to college. It was not like, this is what you have to do. Right. they encouraged it. But when I knew that I had hit the limit of what I was going to get out of it, I didn't have a purpose there anymore.
Yeah.
And my parents were paying to send me there. But I think every single person is different. And I admire the people that go to college and come out of it. I mean, listen, my business partner, Sherry, is a Harvard graduate. She's a Harvard Business School graduate. We joke about it, about how I'm a college dropout and she's an HBS graduate.
But it works.
And it works because, the things that I can never go do that, like that's just not in my DNA.
Not in any life.
But that's okay. That is totally okay. And as it relates to my kids, it's hard, I think, because you don't want to pick their path for them. Exactly. You want them to pick their own path and you want to be as supportive as you humanly can, but you also want them to get as much life experiences as they can. And I think that college is that, I'm glad I went for at least 2 years because I got that life experience, that independence. It was part of my journey to get to, be able to go live in an apartment in LA by myself. Like I could,
Yep.
So as it relates to my kids, look, one, just showing them hard work is everything, right?
Agree.
That's
even though in the moment it's rough.
Yeah. But like just showing them that we work hard and that, nothing in life is handed to you and that you have to earn your keep is really important. And especially raising boys as a woman, now more than ever, it is so important that we're teaching our boys how to properly support women and treat women in every aspect, not just in the home, but in business and in sports, in all of it. And so all of it. And so, for me, I just continue to support them in their decision making and hope that like their paths go to where they're meant to be. I don't know.
No, 100%. I mean, I think for you that your work ethic is clear. Your mom is a badass working mom and she is a doer if I've ever seen a doer in my life. Obviously your parents were huge inspirations, but I mean, what was the moment where you were like, this is my calling? Like, these are my jobs now. I love what I'm doing. I'm good at this. And then I remember so clearly when you were like, I'm starting my own. And I was like, what? Like, what?
Yeah.
Because I remember when I went on my own and I'll never forget it. I will never forget it. And
so scary, right?
It's terrifying. But like, terrifying. So what was the impetus? You were just like, this is my calling. What, like, were you terrified?
I don't think I knew I was terrified. I think that's why, leaders are leaders is like, you have to be the ones to make those scary decisions and take those leaps of faith and, do all of those things. I think that for me as a female, to be completely honest, like I struggled. I struggled when I worked for my dad for so many years. And by the way, I wouldn't change it for anything. Like I said, I learned everything I know from my parents and, and it's a mixed bag too. There's certain business things that I see that I'm doing now that I'm like, oh my God, that's so my dad. And then there's others that I'm like, that's so my mom, and it's hard to be the daughter. Like it is not from a girl boy perspective, but just it's hard to be a kid of, sometimes. And I'm not saying that
like a pity thing, of course.
Like a pity thing. No, like I'm not, but
I've seen it. It's hard.
Yeah. It's hard. It has pros and it has cons. And listen, for me, right, like to this day, that I never want to let down my dad ever in a million years, right? So everything I do is always like, okay, I got to make sure I deliver this. I got to make sure I deliver this. But I get that from him. I get that from my mom, you know? And so for me, I just think I needed to find that independent identity. Again, it goes back to my childhood of like wanting this
acknowledgement,
independence of it all, which is why I'm so humbled that you're asking me to be on this podcast. That I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on?
Listen, coming from Azov family, and like I said, being friends with you for so many years before ever knowing that. But I think there is this thing that you grow up with of being a child of. And despite the fact that your parents don't put that on you,
No.
It's you put it
They
on
don't.
yourself.
You do.
You do. And I think, but I will say this, regardless of who your parents are, I think you'd be that anyway. You know, I think you'd be that anyway. I think you're that person.
Thank you.
I do. I think you're a doer. You know what I mean? You're a doer and you're a perfectionist and you want to do well.
I'm a perfectionist. Well, I say all the time. I say it. No, I mean, I think my team is like sick of hearing me say it in our staff meetings or in strategy meetings or whatever, new business meeting. Like literally, we are only as good as our work product, period. End of story.
It's true.
Right? Whether we're in a service business, whether we're in a product business, whether we're in a finance, it doesn't matter. Like we are only as good as our work. And being in the service business, which by the way, my dad is in the service business. So, you know, I'm just doing a different type of service.
Yes.
So it's like, I still approach it the way he taught me, which is, you know, you protect your client and your talent profusely, and it's about them, and it's making sure you're getting them the best of the best, and, you know, leveraging your network to do that, and, you know, really caring about the quality of your work. And that's how I was bred. And so that's how I now do and lead. And so, you know, it's exciting. It's exciting that I think, you know, it's been a long time. I think I've been, you know, a college dropout for a really long time.
And then you worked for your dad, right?
Right away. Well, no, I dropped out of college and then I was a makeup artist at Art Luna in West Hollywood.
I forget this, by the way. This is crazy. Yeah. Okay, so this is insane because now you work with a lot of the best in the business, right?
I am so lucky to work with so many incredible, talented, whether it's artists or glam teams or whatever it is. And, you know, this agency has evolved so much over the years from representing talent to representing brands, but always having the same mentality of like, make sure we're giving them the best service.
Yep.
Make sure we're protecting them fiercely, like make sure they have the best opportunity. And, you know, that's kind of how we do it at Blended. And it's been really awesome. And yeah, it's exciting. And now we get to represent people like Jen Atkin and Mary Phillips and Justine Marjan and Gwen Stefani. We are partners with her and her Give Beauty line. Sherry and I worked for years to build that with her.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I use it every day.
It really is. Do you?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Okay,
I have the eyeliner on right now.
Oh, the eyeliner is sick.
I have it on right now.
The eyeliner is crazy. Yeah. And we just launched a new social selling tool, which anyone can sign up and anyone can sell Give Makeup, and you get just a flat 30% royalty or percentage.
I love that.
Yeah. So like, and it's super easy to use, and, you know, it's really great. And so it's been, and look, I'm able to create that with her because I know what she needs in order to do this properly. Yep. You know, I don't want her to compromise quality. I don't want her to compromise any of it. And so I make sure that she has the right partners, the right funding, and all of that to do that. And we do that quite a bit with a few other of our clients.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Let's talk about stress for a minute. Unfortunately, life does not come with a user manual. So when it's not working for you, it's really normal to feel stuck, whatever that feels like. Navigating any of life's challenges can make you feel so unsure, whether it's a career change, a new relationship, or even just becoming a parent. Therapists are trained to help you figure out the cause of challenging emotions, which we all struggle with, and learn productive coping skills, which I'm pretty sure everyone in my life needs. I know I do. BetterHelp has connected over 3 million people with licensed therapists. It's convenient and accessible anywhere, 100% online. I think we all struggle with stress on some level, whether you're a student and you want to do really well and you want to be the best in your class and your friend is doing better. And then you graduate from school and then you go into the real world and then you're working and then you feel like your career's not where it should be. And I just feel like as we get older, stress hits us from every angle in every part of our lives. And I don't think it's something you can avoid. I think it's actually how you choose to deal with it and the coping skills that we need in order to sort of overcome stress or just manage it in our everyday lives. As the world's largest therapy service, BetterHelp has matched 3 million people with professionally licensed and vetted therapists available 100% online. Plus, it's actually affordable. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to match with a therapist. If things aren't clicking, you can easily switch to a new therapist anytime. It actually couldn't be simpler. No waiting rooms, no traffic, no endless searching for the right therapist. Learn more and save 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/heels. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/heels, HEELS. I mean, it's funny because I think that goes to another thing I love to talk about on this podcast is like how much as entrepreneurs do we have to pivot our businesses, right? And like I would say blended like was one thing and now it's become such a bigger thing with so many arms to it. So tell me like the impetus for blended, because I do think your love of doing makeup, now representing artists, now launching their brands for them. You're a brilliant marketer. You're like, so there's all these difference. You have PR, you have branding, but also I think you get involved on the, obviously on the business side, but I think really all sides, right? I think you're very 360, but I think, I think clearly some of the best artists in the world are entrusting you to sort of get their brands out there. So tell me like, what was the concept behind Blended and now what is it? And then I want to talk to you about having babies.
Oh my gosh.
Well, just as
someone the other
mom.
day asked me if I was pregnant and I was like, do you want to put me into an institution? Because that's where I'll end up. If I was pregnant, I might need to be hospitalized. That would put me into a tailspin.
I really thought you were going to have a fourth, just so you know.
I know. A lot of people thought I was going to have a fourth. You know, my mom has 4 kids. I'm one of 4. So everyone was like, you're going to do it. And she spread her kids out and da-da-da-da-da. But I think that Blended's my 4th baby.
Yes.
So,
fair.
That is like, I started Blended. I remember Sherry literally said to me, she was like, I think you have postpartum like pregnancy brain. Like, are you sure you want to start a business with a 1-year-old? Because I started talking to her about this when I like had just given birth to Dylan, my 3rd baby. And the impetus of it was, I was always on the receiving end of working with buyers and marketing agencies and sometimes PR agencies to come and, contract with my talent. I worked on the Jennifer Hudson Weight Watchers deal for a multitude of years. I did a Jewel L'Oreal deal back in the day, lots of work with American Express and T-Mobile. And,
and this is pre-blended working for your dad.
Pre-blended. So I was always working with different buyers who wanted our talent. And it was challenging because, their job is to represent the brand. Their job isn't to represent the talent. And so they think of it very differently. I mean, your talent, sometimes you get offers and you're like, wait, did someone really think I was going to go, run down a beach in a G-string to take social content for them? Like, so I would always have to be like, let me explain to you why this isn't good for either of you. Sure. Because you want the talent to be engaged and you want the talent to feel confident and good about ultimately going out and selling these campaigns. And so I did a lot of that work, and it was always really challenging to work through with some of the buyers, not all of them, but some of them. And because they didn't care about the talent, it was so transactional. And so when I met Sherry, who was coming from a brand, it's funny, she had reached out to me through a buyer that I knew. She was like, they couldn't get it over the finish line. And I was like, let me just talk to her. And they were selling me a tour sponsorship when all Sherry wanted was to get famous people to post about EOS on this new social media platform called Instagram.
Right.
I was like, no problem. Who do you want? We could do this all day, and that was truly the start of Blended. And so that's what the catalyst of starting the agency was to replicate and help other brands and talent navigate what at the time was called influencer marketing, right? Like, and there were bloggers, and you were early on it as well. And so that really, we just knew that our skill sets were so complementary and not repetitive. She comes from brand, I come from talent. How do we take those two skill sets to help better, our clients navigate this space? And so we've evolved over the 7 years, and we're now, the way I explain us that I think is the best way for people to understand who we are is that we're a marketing agency with an emphasis on entertainment marketing. And we have services across influencer, celebrity marketing, PR, social media strategy, and production. Because when you think about those three capabilities together in one ecosystem, you think of two things. One, they all need to have cohesiveness in order for us all to achieve the greater goal, right? Which is to sell something. You're going to sell it through social media. You're going to probably leverage some influencer. You want to put some PR behind it. We're working on adding one more capability to Blended to really be the one-stop shop for brand and talent, to really help them. I would say the best way to think about us is an internal marketing team. We are an extension of an internal marketing team. And so we do all of those things, and we make sure that there's cohesiveness and storytelling and, content creation and all of those things through those capabilities. And what's really awesome about it is that we have been able to build a venture business just based on, projects like Give Beauty with Gwen Stefani. We're partners with Jen Atkin and Main Addicts.
Amazing.
We are about to launch a new aluminum-free clean deodorant called Nez. And so what we're doing is we're creating brand out of this venture business
and getting a piece.
And then we're servicing it out of our agency
and you have a vested interest.
Right. Yes. We have a vested interest, and you're going to get better rates when you're a venture client at our agency level. But what's really interesting that you brought up that I just want to circle back to is I'm finding that we're getting a lot of inbound opportunity with celebrity backed or influencer backed businesses that they're seeing the work we're doing with other ones similar, like Give Beauty and a few others. And they're coming to us because they know that with my talent expertise and with Sherry's brand expertise, we can be really helpful because we get it. We know what type of PR plan to build that is going to be realistic for a very busy person who has more than just the brand piece to manage in their career, like a realistic PR plan, a realistic way for them to work with influencer that's going to be effective. Not, let's not do things that aren't going to be effective and cost us money either, So yeah, it's really, really, really exciting. And then it's fun too, because I get to work with my friends, like I love being able to work with my friends. I'm really close with Melinda Maria, who is a jewelry designer. She has incredible, affordable jewelry. And she asked me to do a collab with her, which again, like when you asked me to be on a podcast and she asked me to do a collab, I'm like, what's going on? Are you sure you want me? I don't know.
Yes.
So, I know. So we're excited. We're excited to do that. And, we just have so many cool projects going on. And what's cool is watching it all come together like this past weekend. So I'm on the board of HFC. It's a charity that was started by Seth and Lauren Rogan. It's called Hilarity for Charity. And we are a charity that supports Alzheimer's. And we had our 10-year anniversary birthday gala. And it was the first time post-COVID that we all got to do an in-person big fundraiser. And we had such a successful night. Raised a great amount of money for HFC. But what was really cool was to see it kind of all come together. Like I'm on the board of HFC, and that's what I do. I work hard to be able to do things like support HFC or support Baby to Baby or to support politicians that I want to support. That's what I want to do. I want to do things so that I have the ability to go do better things. I always tell people, I'm not saving lives in my agency, but like if I can work hard enough to have a successful business that can go and save lives, I'm going to fucking do it.
Do you know that I said that, Allison, when I was, I think it was about 24, and I looked at Roger, and it was after a huge world tragedy. And I saw a lot of people, public people, that weren't doing their part. There were some doing their part and many that weren't using their voices. And I said to Roger, I said, I have no desire to be famous or anything. And I remember saying it like it was yesterday, which is so weird. But I said to him, but I do dream of a day where I have the power to be in a room that helps raise money and awareness for something I care about. I said, because I don't understand people that don't do that. And this was like long before social media. And I think, I think to your point, I think working really hard and knowing that what we do doesn't save lives, but if there's a way that we can turn that around and try and do things that does help save lives, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, ultimately, like that's all I want to do.
Right.
So,
it's the dream.
It's the dream.
It is the dream.
But it was cool at HFC to see it all come together. My incredible PR team at Blended, does all the PR for HFC, and our client Shake Shack was there, and we had Cali Rosa there, and it was just nice to see how it all kind of came together for a good cause. And that kind of is the evolution of Blended, is like we're becoming this, influential ecosystem. And
what do your kids think, Al? Like,
it's cute. They're cute.
Two things.
My kids rock my Blended swag, which is cute.
They're so cute. Well, okay. So you have 3 boys.
Yeah.
And I know that you have a lot of women that work with you that have children. Having children, have them. I want to know, because I get asked this a lot, and it's something I really want to highlight on this podcast because it's an ever evolving question and answer, honestly. How did you actually take maternity leave?
Well, when you become a mom, you automatically get a full-time job. So you're never really on maternity leave.
No, 100%.
Even as a mom, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. But did you like quietly nest at home for 3 months and not work?
Not really. I think maybe with Sydney, my first one, I think I did. But after that, I don't think I ever really took a real maternity leave. But here's the thing, right? That's the other thing, is I think women are really like sometimes judgmental of others if they're taking a maternity leave, or think, how could you go right back to work? What kind of mom are you?
Or vice versa. How could you take time off?
How could you take time off? And it's funny because, we have a lot, we call them blended babies. So we have a lot of blended babies here. And we built a nursery in our office so that they can bring their babies to work.
Snaps.
And, there was a moment here when one of the girls on leadership came back from maternity, and she had to bring her baby in with her one day. And it was the cutest thing. Her baby was sitting in the office next door in its little like bassinet. And the other girls that were in that shared office were watching the baby while she was in the conference room doing a Zoom meeting with a team. And it just was like, so I took a picture because I was like, this is what it was. This is what it's about. I didn't have that when I had babies. It was very isolating. It was interesting. But I just think that being a mom, being a working mom, like there's a reason why women have the babies. Yeah. And there's a reason why we're able to do both.
Yes.
Agreed. And there's I just, my kids are my priority, period, end of story, hard line. And I always just remember that my parents set an incredible example for me and my siblings and their work ethic. And they have a high bar, like my parents are not cool with us just sitting on our asses and not doing anything. And so, my kids have that bar, and I just want to set good examples for them. Like I want them to see that we have to work hard. Like we have to work hard. And as a mom, I have to work double hard, like it is just, it's crazy, but they're cute. They're really excited. They're like, is that blended strategy? Is that a blended strategy project? And, they come to the office and they're starting to really understand what we do as well. But it was really cute. We were at, I go to Century City a lot in LA, which I'm sure as do you. It's a lovely family destination. Yes, it is. They have everything. when you got to burn a few hours.
No, but it's true. I think our boys are at an age right now where I was saying this over the weekend because my boys came with me to this gala to watch me get this award, and I literally marveled for like 24 hours after at I cannot believe they're at this age where I can take them with me.
Totally.
They can sit through a 4-hour night, have the best time, cheer me on, and be these little gentlemen. And I think like it's crazy because at the end of the night, I was putting them to sleep and I was like, thank you so much for coming, you guys. It meant so much to have you. And Kai's looked at me and said, well, mommy, what choice did I have? And I thought he meant like he had to go, like he was forced. Like, oh, you didn't have to go. I asked you if you wanted to go. He goes, no, what I mean is, mommy, I would have never missed it. I'm so proud of you. Like, and so, but I do think it's new at at this age that they have flipped to being upset when we can't be somewhere versus saying, wow, that's cool. Or like, wow, I'm proud.
We've been working for so long now, not to age us, but like some of the stuff that we've been working on for years is finally coming to fruition. Yeah. So like I was saying, I was at Century City and I was like, let's go in Sephora and check on the Give Beauty.
Yes.
You know, see how it is. And like, they run in and they're like, hi, excuse me, where's Give Beauty by Gwen Stefani? And I'm like, oh, dead, you know? And then they go up to the little end cap and they're like, take my picture.
Doesn't that just, that's everything.
But I think that's too, the thing is like that when they do have a visual of it, you know, and when they are able to actually see the work and see the final product, whether it's your award, right?
Yeah, anything.
And anything, like, I think that then it really clicks for them. So it's really, you know, it's just all very,
hard.
It's a lot. It's, you know, I say all the time, hard. I'm like, fuck, it's hard being an adult.
It is.
But also like, you know, because in my head, I'm still like 20,
I know.
You know, running the streets
to 100%.
Going to hide illegally.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just weird to be an adult and it is hard, but it is also just, it comes with responsibility.
Yeah,
and that's, you know, and the older you get and the more success you have and the more kids you have, the more responsibility you have. And so as that plate continues to kind of build and build and build, like I just have to keep reminding myself, like everything's going to be okay.
Oh my God. Yes. And I think actually that brings me to, have you had those moments where you woke up or went to sleep or didn't go to sleep and said, I'm done. Like I literally cannot do this anymore. Like I'm losing my mind. This is too much.
I've never had that.
Never.
I haven't. And I'm lucky that I haven't. I think, look, I have incredible role models. I have incredible role models in my parents. I have an amazing support system. I have such an amazing team at Blended.
And you have a delicious husband too.
And oh my God, I mean, forget it.
I'm ever.
Nothing without my husband. So yeah. That's when I would do that, by the way. If he was ever like, I can't take it or we're done, I'd be like, I'm done.
Sweetest
yeah,
Rich.
But you know, I have such an incredible, amazing team at Blended. I'm nothing without them. You know, like we are genuinely a team. We do everything together. Like they know my bar. They know my, you know, they know what it needs to be and they deliver time and time again. And I just want to say one thing. I haven't had the moment of like, I'm done, it's too much, but I have had moments of like, I'm going to throw my phone across the room and I hope it shatters in a million pieces.
Yes.
And that no one can find me for maybe 48 hours.
Yes. And you go to Wyoming.
Like, and
or Montana or wherever you go to a ranch.
Bye. Yeah. But that I do, I mean, any sane person has to have those moments of weakness, you know?
Being a CEO is, it's not for everybody and that's okay. And I think like starting your own business, it's not for everybody, but I think you just know that like the highs are the high and the lows are the low. And I think it's okay. Yeah. And I think we learn and become stronger and pivot and be nimble and all of those things. When you think of your next part of life, whether that's in a year or 10 years, do you ever just dream? Like, I don't, because I'm always in the like second. And I always like joke, I'm going to like end up living in Saint-Tropez on a beach making jewelry out of like shells and rocks. That's like the dream.
Yeah,
And a caftan.
I mean, that, by the way, sounds very you, for the record. Like, I feel like that is very spot on. So
I'm just doing philanthropy.
Just let me know when you do that so I could come visit and get some of your jewelry.
What is your dream? Like, I don't want to say end goal because it's too definite, but like, do you ever say like, my dream is this? And it could be literally like, I wish that my kids are doing X. It could be, where are you? Where, like, do you ever think beyond tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I do, because like, why else are we all working so hard, right? Like, and I think that it goes back to, just wanting to be able to build a platform or a network. I just want to set a good example, not just for my kids, but for other women in business, for other daughters of, for other, moms, for other friends. Like, I care about my work. I love what I do. I mean, I will openly say, I think I'm addicted to working. Like, I love it. I love it.
I feel you.
I
never off.
Never. And I'm like, if we're not, we need to have some fun, Obviously we have commitments and responsibilities and we do things. That's my favorite thing when my kids are like, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to go to whatever. And I'm like, well, I don't want to wake up every morning and fight with you to get out of bed and pack you a lunch and make you breakfast for you to tell me you hate it and then yell at me that you can't find your shoes and socks. So like, like I said, we're not saving lives.
We're not, but I love you for what you are doing. I love you.
Until I start saving lives, then I'm not going to take anything so seriously.
No, it's true. But I do think I do want to commend you on what you are doing, and I think we're very alike as human beings, which is why we've always connected in that way. I know. But I love you madly.
I love you madly. I'm always so impressed and grateful, and just. You are someone who has always been so supportive of me from day one, and you have always worked your ass off. I mean, I remember seeing you lug bags and bags and bags and racks of clothes and shoes and belts and hats and jewelry from every car to every studio. Yes. I mean, while in platform heels. Yes. And you did it so fucking gracefully. Like, truly. I was always like, fuck, she always looks so good.
You're so sweet. I was just trying to figure out how to somehow do my job the best I could and somehow not have to be in like sneakers and sweats while I was doing it. I fell a few times, but I tried to keep that under wraps,
Same girl. We all fall.
Okay, everyone, it's that time of the week for Ask Rachel, where I answer 2 questions from our listeners. And this week, the first question is, what do you use or how do you like to organize your schedule or calendar? And the answer is, I have a crazy memory and I actually keep a mental calendar. I really do. So I do know more or less what I have going on. But I will definitely say that I have an executive assistant and a team who really keep me on track in terms of like big upcoming things and prepping for things to make sure that I don't forget. Because to be totally honest, between my children's lives, my life and my work life, it's a lot and can get very overwhelming. But I will say a big trick that really works for me that I very strongly recommend to avoid that feeling of being overwhelmed is that I find that when I look at my schedule the night before, so looking at Monday, I'll look Sunday night at my day on Monday rather than looking at like the month ahead. It's really helpful to take day by day rather than like a month, because then it just becomes really overwhelming. And I start to just get anxious about it all. Next, what am I currently shopping for? Well, I'd like to say that I don't need anything ever again, but I would say that what I'm really obsessing over right now are the Valentino sky high platforms in every color. I want them literally in every color. And also Versace. I think they're actually like double platforms. Okay, you guys, don't forget to submit your questions for next week's episode. All you have to do is DM us your questions to @climbinginheelspod on Instagram, and I just might answer your question. I mean, honestly, for those of you that have not heard of Allison before, I hope you understand her sort of life and journey a little bit. And I think it was important for me to highlight Allison, not just because of what a powerhouse she is. Allison really spoke to having such tremendous role models with such great work ethic. And she does clearly have the work ethic and desire to succeed and make an impact in the world and in business. So I hope that you loved this episode as much as I did. And also, I think something to highlight is her opening a nursery for all the people having babies in her company. And I did the same at mine when I had my kids. And I think that for those that can, please learn from that and just try and support mothers and fathers, honestly, that are doing this. Because, you know, being a working parent, the struggle is real. And support is really something not to take for granted. Thank you so much for listening to Climbing in Heels. And don't forget to write a review wherever you get your podcasts. I love to read them. While you're at it, follow me on @RachelZoe and @ClimbingInHeelsPod on Instagram for more updates on upcoming guests, episodes, and all things Curator. I'll talk to you next week. Mwah.